This is Drink Talk, where we try to solve the world's problems one drink at a time. Every other week in this podcast, we talk today and tomorrow while highlighting and enjoying beer, spirits, and wine from around the world and also crafted locally. Join us. We are your hosts, Brian and Britt.
Cheers. Welcome, everyone.
Season 3.
Right?
Here we go.
Back in action.
Yes, after a month off.
Yeah, sorry we were away for so long, but, you know, we got to do what we got to do to get prepared for Season 3, which is going to be awesome.
Exactly. And we have with us some guests today.
Yeah.
We have a returning guest host, Mike, who's been on the program. You may have seen him in episodes such as...
blah, 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 blah.
All those.
Fake news, aliens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you've been
Good
on some good ones, yeah.
Facial recognition, that was a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to be back. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
we have a new one.
Yeah, Sam. Sam the man.
Welcome, Sam.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Sam's going to be kind of taking over control for me for hopefully some time, you know, for a while now.
As long as there's free alcohol.
Hey, there you
I
go.
believe.
Nice.
I just needed somebody to control the cameras and the audios and all that stuff so I can be here in the show more. So, yeah, we got that.
Exactly. So he's a fixture now on camera, but he might be behind the scenes.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll
I
see
look
how this
better
plays out.
behind the scenes.
Yeah, as Mike said earlier, I have the face for radio.
You do.
Burn.
Yes. Yep.
Get him some aloe.
Yeah. So we will be talking. There is background music, just slightly up a little bit, just FYI.
There you go.
Yeah,
Just a little bit,
just
just
so we can hear it,
little
but not
poquito.
everybody. Yep.
Yeah.
So even down further.
Just a little in the background. Perfect.
Well, as you may have heard, we do have a new. We're here at a new time. We're Friday. Usually we're Sundays.
Yeah.
We did that because of the Super Bowl. You know, we got the Rams playing the Patriots.
Yeah. The last time we did an episode after the Super Bowl, we lost that episode, actually. True story. We were going to do the petrodollar. And I had some friends over, and we were drinking for the Super Bowl, and Brian shows up. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. We okay, yeah, let's do it. You know, and we did it. We recorded it, and then I didn't save it. And
It's
it was
the lost
it was
episode.
Gone. It was
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
So I love you.
So we're not going to do that again.
No.
And people are busy on the Super Bowl, so let's just do it on a Friday night, because nobody's busy on a Friday night. I mean,
Right. Exactly.
We also have that new intro, so I kind of dig it. That's
Nice.
a
We
nice one.
literally recorded that 20 minutes ago.
Yep, right before we did that. Yep.
Knocked it out.
So season 3 is going to be awesome. We're going to have some fun, and we're going to kick it off right now with some Hopslam by
Yeah.
Bells Brewing Company out of Kalamazoo, Michigan.
This is the talk of the town. Everybody's, you know, talking about it and buying it up. And I know over there at Casual Pint, they had a huge stack of 6-packs, and now they've got maybe like 4 or 5 left, if that. You know, I'm sure they'll re-up and get more and all that stuff, but it went quick, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. And we got the 5-liter keg for those of you looking on the on right now. It's 5 liters of delicious goodness. This is the 219 double IPA brewed with honey. And let's see here, 10% ABV. And they used 6 different types of hops from the Pacific Northwest, and then they used a 7th one. 7 different types of hops in this thing.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. We did have this last year in January.
We did of course Media Slam Part 1. Number one.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just Brian and I don't think we even got halfway through this darn keg. So we had to get some more people on the show just to finish it. Hopefully we finish it and keg it tonight.
I'm here to help.
Thanks, you, Mike. Thank
Exactly.
You.
Well, yeah, with that said,
Yeah,
here to help.
let's get this going.
Well, cheers
Get
over
this
here.
show
You
on the
guys
road.
cheers over there.
Right.
Air Clinky, you guys over here. And it may look a little weird on camera. I've got an ice pack sitting on top of it, and I got an ice pack kind of sitting around the bottom. And serve yourself.
Yeah, a little lazy Susan action going on.
Exactly.
Hey, Doug, thanks for joining.
So,
Andrew, hey.
hey. Oh, hey.
Hey.
Hey, hi.
And Michael. Thank you for commenting on there. So if you're watching along, you can ask questions. We will see it. There is probably, what was it, like a 30-second delay or something
Yeah,
like that?
there's a bit of a delay.
Yep. So, should we get on with the show? What are your thoughts on this?
So I waited, and I hadn't taken a drink until just now when we just clinked glasses there, and it's not what I expected. When I hear double IPA, I think that I'm gonna have like sour face, or
Bitter beer face,
and not at all. It's actually pretty sweet. It's got kind of a sweetness to it for a double IPA. You can tell it's super hoppy, obviously, but not bitter at all.
I've found that double IPAs actually are more full-bodied. You'll get a lot more, using a wine term here. Come on, you're gonna get a lot more flavor.
It's a lot rounder. The maltiness also, I find, generally comes through a lot more in the doubles.
Well, it almost seems like the hops are less. If you drink, if this was just a single IPA, it would be like, whoa, there's their hops. But double IPA, it seems like it's less, even though it's more. I
didn't know that, and you guys know that I'm not that much of an IPA guy. I'm more of a lager wheat type of guy. But I fully expected a double IPA to be like more bitter, more hoppy.
Especially with 7 different types of hops that they use in the thing.
Yeah, and it's got a ton of flavor, but it's not. It doesn't have that.
It's almost like a
punchy in the throat,
darker golden, not quite an amber. It does have that malty flavor to it that you get in the kind of the back. But overall, yeah, it's a smooth drinker for a dippa.
Yeah, I like it.
Yep.
Sam, is this your first time drinking this?
It is actually, and I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm a big IPA fan, and it definitely is rounded, and the hops aren't too forward on it, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
You can definitely taste that honey too, kind of
tickles,
tickles your tongue.
A little bit of a sweetness there. I like it. Britt,
yes.
Thoughts?
Yes. My thoughts are I've had this already.
Yeah.
I've had 2 6-packs already of this stuff. When it first came out, I knew how good it is. So of course I'm going to buy it again. I will say this tastes better than the keg we had last year. I remember what that tastes like, and it was good. Don't get me wrong, it was good, but this tastes better. I don't know if they brewed it just a little differently, but
I mean each batch is going to be a little different.
Sure.
But,
yeah.
The maltiness is what I don't remember from last year. It's a little bit more malty.
I like it,
which has that back of the mouth chewable flavor. Is kind of how I describe it.
Sure.
So, Drew, we will do all we can to save the Merriam-Webster dictionary from the suffrage of the Hopslam. We will do all we can tonight. We'll see how it goes. We will ease the pain of the Merriam-Webster
So
dictionary.
I had this underneath it before, the tasting of beer here, which is a great read if you want.
Mm-hmm.
And
I see you read it well. I mean, it looks like it's well
I've
used.
read 5 pages. All right, leave me alone. I'm getting there. I'm reading it. But with that said, it wasn't tall enough, so we had to put the dictionary underneath there.
What?
Oh, you wanted to zoom in on that? Bing.
What was it that
Nice.
we were talking? What word did we need the dictionary for? What did I say?
Googling.
Googleable.
Googleable. That's what it was. It's not going to be that one. That's
Yeah,
the other
dude, that one's from like 1990.
Could you
Before
plug
Google.
Yeah, could you plug this in? Update that, would you?
Exactly.
Please?
Please run updates. Come on.
All right, so on with the show. We're gonna get into some media slam here. We did like I said, we did a media slam episode. Every time we drink Hopslam, seems we're gonna be doing a media slam episode. This is our
Seems like
second
we've got to do it
one.
once a year. Well, it's just getting crazy nowadays. You know, we've got 2 forces here, and we'll say it, Democratic and Republic, right now going on in the news, and it's just heads are button, and news is flying off in all different directions. The Trump is saying fake news. You know, it's who do you trust? You know, who do you actually go to get the truth? You know, and that's really what this topic is going to be kind of about.
Well, and the quote that I love, and I'm gonna butcher it. I wish I would have put it on here, but Denzel Washington years ago, he was kind of getting a reporter in his face, and they were kind of slamming him a little bit about his comments towards the media. And he said, you know, if you read the news, or if you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed, and if you read the newspaper, you're misinformed. You guys have been so good at being first, you forgot to be right. And I mean that's a general quote, not an exact quote.
It's
but
pretty close though.
Yeah,
I remember
I think that's where we are today. That
Yeah.
the media, they just rush out to be first. They get all their news. They get their news on Twitter, and then it becomes news. And then wait, we're gonna back off. There was some more facts that came out. They're not going to print a retraction or an apology. They'll just kind of shift a little bit.
There's a guy I watch on YouTube. From time to time, he just comes into my feed. It's all like, you should watch this. You should watch this. We watch a lot of news-related items on YouTube on our TV upstairs. And his name's Gary Frenchie, and he's like the First News Network or something like that.
News on YouTube can be a little sketchy too.
Well, yeah, and I guess this is his job because like he's selling stuff too. He's like, go to Gary.com. You can buy this flashlight. You're like, oh, okay, whatever.
I want Gary's flashlight.
It looks like a pretty cool flashlight. It's a bottle opener and it does other things too. But anyway, it seems that that's what Gary does, and that's what he does best, is gets the news out first. Whether he's right or wrong, he's first to do it.
Yeah.
Hey, Logan from I read that wrong. He's a Texan in Orlando. So
Yes, he's on a show right now for our company. So
he's missing our heat wave after the bitter cold polar vortex that we just experienced.
I had a couple guys up from Dallas. We just got done doing a big Kiewit show, and took them out to the bars last night, and yeah, we went hard. It was eat at the Worm for some food. It was 11 something at night when we got out, 11:45 or so. So food there at Eat at the Worm, some tequila. Then we went to Harney Street Tavern, played some darts. We stopped by the Hive, but it was closed. But Jake was still there, and we hung out with him for a while. And then there was a bunch of racket going on downstairs. They had a live musician. And so they're like, well, let's go downstairs to the Dubliner. And then we met some Kiewit people there, and I ended up driving them back to the hotel.
You became their Uber driver?
Essentially. And then I get a phone call today at 3 o'clock from our lead sales guy. And he's like, hey, Britt, I got a weird question for you. Did you drive home some Kiewit people last night? And I'm all like,
what's the right answer?
Well,
now?
no, I answered truthfully. I'm like, I did drive some people home. I don't know if they worked for Kiewit, though, because the guys that were with me were talking to them because they had been with them all week. I wasn't. I rigged the show in, I rigged it out, and that's it. Anyway, I'm in the back of my mind. I'm like, what did I do? What's wrong?
I'm so fired.
He goes, can you look in your back seat and see if there's a wallet back there? I'm like, oh, yeah. Now he looks like the bad guy, not me.
Yeah. So David just hopped on from Casual Pints. So,
oh, hey, buddy.
We did mention Casual Pint here, and this is where we got this. It
Absolutely.
is delicious beer, and even some non-IPA drinkers, usually non-IPA drinkers, even like it.
I will straight up say this is probably my favorite IPA, double or otherwise, that I think I've probably ever had.
Nice.
This is good beer. I would absolutely order and drink this again.
Coming from somebody that doesn't drink IPAs a ton, so that says
accurate.
There we go. Excellent. Two
thumbs up.
2 drinks up.
Yeah. Get your beer. Get your beer on at Casual Pint.
Exactly. Thank you, David, for saving this one for us.
Yeah, and in fact, I was actually there yesterday, and they had a tap takeover. Toppling Goliath was there, so you could get the King Sue, the Fire Skulls of Money, their Sumo Sue, or Super Sue, or however you pronounce that.
Pseudo Sue?
No, it's like a Supa Sue or something like that.
I remember the pseudo suit from last time.
Yeah.
From one of the times that I was on here on this show, and I like that one too.
That's a really good one. And their King Sue, which is good.
I might have one in the fridge for later. So let's just see if we can make it through this first.
Post game.
Yeah. All right. So back to Britt's comment on who you can trust. So what's interesting is I went on and I did a search, and just to look at the media at large I wanted to see what the media bias was on things. And there are websites set up to tell you, who's biased left, who's biased right, and middle. So I found a couple websites, and what's interesting, they both have very similar graphs. I'm not going to put them up there because they are copyrighted, but you can find them if you do media bias charts. You can do a search. And what I found was they don't really match between the websites. So one website says they're similar,
Really? So the sites that determine the media bias are probably
Biased.
Yeah.
Yep. And they're both from the same year, so it's not like they're
That's-
different years. So I just found that interesting. I'm like, well, they just kind of proved our point a little
Do
bit
they
there.
match on the extremes? So for those who haven't seen it, the charts are kind of like a bell curve where you've got the left end of the political spectrum represented on the left end of the graph, and and vice versa.
And they even have actual news, somewhat truthful news, and fake news.
Right. So they break them out like that. So do the charts match from the two websites you looked at? Do they match on the extreme ends? I would think that that's where they would match, and then they would kind of like mix them up in the middle.
Well, like I said, they are similar, but some of the things on here. What was the one that jumped out at me last time? I can't think of who is one of the big ones that I thought, what is going on?
I don't know. Just trying things out.
Was it Bloomberg? No, that wasn't it. I can't recall right offhand, but I just thought that Fox News is one that's different.
Yeah, but Fox News, they,
on one chart they have it as fake news.
Right, it's categorized as like straight up fake news.
Yeah.
Misinforming society completely. Right.
Yeah. And the other one's kind of on the line of, no, there's some truth there. It's just they misrepresent some stuff.
Yeah, they just have really strong opinions or whatever.
Yeah. So,
but then there's the ones that are obvious, like the Alex Jones ones, right? Which are
what surprised me
on
is
the farthest end of
like
the spectrum.
what is his not Breitbart? What's the Infowars?
Infowars.
There it is. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, it's the exact same on both.
I feel like we should qualify that with saying like, please don't go to that website. Don't do it.
He's really passionate about what he does, and he gets really heated about stuff that
to me it's like a character. I think he's
know.
just a character. I think it's a character that he plays.
He's actually said that publicly. That he would never say that publicly and claim it. But if you go look this up, when Alex Jones had a custody battle in his divorce, his claim to the judge was, no, I'm not crazy. That's a character that I play because I'm an entertainer, right? And so that kind of discredits a lot of what he does, and like validates what most people already thought anyway, I think.
Sure.
You mean the world isn't being overrun by reptilian overlords?
We'll never know.
All right, CNN though, that was one that that stayed the same, and I don't know. This one's from last year, and I don't know. This last year was CNN. They kind of,
I heard a poll the other day, and what was it? It was like a dog show or something like ratings than CNN.
It's like a Food Network channel.
Something like
Food
that.
Network channel has higher ratings than a lot of news organizations.
Their app doesn't cover very much either. When you surf around on the app, there's nothing on there.
For CNN or for
CNN, it covers very particular things, and there's a lot of stuff just kind of left out, and a lot of it is just celebrity based.
Probably, yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Is celebrity news can just take a hike, man. I have no interest whatsoever. Like, leave that stuff on E, and if for some reason I ever wanted to go learn about what celebrities are up to,
It should have its own news. It has nothing to do with the open media. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I know what it was now. It was a rerun of Lassie had more viewers than CNN did.
But I mean, that's totally
it's
justifiable.
Lassie, man.
It's Lassie.
It's classic.
She can tell you when Timmy's stuck in the well again.
Who had something to do with a dog.
Thank you for the refill, Brian.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
I'm here to serve. One of the first ones that I wanted to talk about, so I kind of wanted to do like a reverse order because like I said, we did this back in January, so I kind of wanted to do the older stories first that kind of came out with some media bias that you may have seen, you may have missed, and then kind of get more towards the newer stuff.
Absolutely.
The first one that I wanted to bring up, and if other people have stuff too, they can bring them up as well.
Yeah.
But the first one I wanted to bring up, do you remember the pictures of the teens in the holding cells at the border?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I didn't get that picture.
That's all right. Not a
But
big
I
deal.
did get the videos.
Yeah. So back in June of 2018, this is all the medias were posting these pictures of, and I guess I should start with this. A lot of this stuff is pro-Trump because the media is obviously anti-Trump. So I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah.
Well, all the networks are against Trump.
Even Fox News, which is decidedly conservative.
I'd say Fox News is more for Trump than any of the other ones.
Yeah, but
they're still against him. Yeah,
exactly.
No,
So in an effort to try and get some balance, I'm going to bring out some of the things that obviously they have a left-leaning. The majority of networks out there have a left-leaning bias. So these pictures, if you aren't familiar with it, there were these pictures that were released of teenagers in holding cells at the border when people would come here illegally.
Cages.
Exactly, and they were detaining them in these cages. And the whole media was in an uproar, and as well as the populace was in an uproar that how could Trump possibly do this? Well, it turns out that those pictures were from 2014.
Yeah.
Which Trump was not in office in 2014.
Well, yeah, it was Obama.
Yeah. So apparently they didn't get their facts straight, or they're just so eager. Who was? I was talking to somebody today. I don't watch the
Well, in this case, they weren't eager. They waited to the right opportunity.
Well,
because otherwise they would have released it back in
Which
2013.
raises the question: is it intentionally misinforming, or or something else? Right?
Bingo.
And you never know. But
somebody was telling me that. What? I can't remember the exact phrase or exact terminology. This was from The View. I don't watch The View, but Whoopi Goldberg actually had come on kind of in defense of some of this stuff that was going on in recent development with the MAGA hats, and we'll get into that later here as we get to the more recent events. But she said, why is it that we are so quick to dismiss things and to make this hat a symbol of racism and all that stuff when we obviously know that some of these things that come out are utterly false. And one of the other gals, without skipping a beat, says that's because we want Trump out of office so bad we're willing to overlook some of these facts.
Yeah.
Which she just basically
that's
held
not
her
really
cards out here.
That's not really okay, right?
Yeah. So I wish I had that clip, but that was just something I that was today that somebody was telling me about that today. So everything all right behind the scenes over there?
No, we're kind of. So I may have to do an update to the Mevo camera that I use here. You used to click and hold in front of your face, and then it'd create a square box in front of your face, and then it'd be like a quick link. You could just tap that, and it'd be like bing. And there's also a drag function. It's not working entirely, and there's some new stuff on here I've never seen before. When you hold the face, you can do like slow glides and stuff like that.
We watched the commercial today, and it's false news. We can't do any of that stuff.
Well, here's what it is. Maybe it did update itself, and there's different ways of doing it now. I don't know.
All right.
Come on, Mevo.
Moving on.
Yes.
All right.
Mark Siriaco has joined. Mark,
Mark.
thanks for joining.
What's up, Mark?
Yeah,
What's up, buddy?
Good to see you, Mark.
We need to get him on the show.
Yeah.
We need to get him on the show.
Yeah. So he can talk about this new well, I don't want to give away where he works, but maybe we should talk about that. That's some new technology out there.
We need to talk after this. We're kind of booked up until like mid-March.
I know, that's crazy
so
cool.
Awesome.
Super cool. All right, so anybody got one? I've got another one, but does anybody?
Well, let's keep talking about specific instances. I do remember that the photos of the kids in cages in air quotes, right, which turned out to be sort of inaccurate news, but
right.
Well, it was true news. It was just falsely advertised as
falsely represented.
Wrong year.
Falsely represented. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
What year is it?
Yeah, what year is it, Jumanji? No,
Your pop culture reference?
Keep going, Brian. If you've got other specific
I do.
instances, I'm interested.
I kind of wanted to throw a curveball on this one because, I mean, we were obviously doing a media slam, and who would think that these people would fall under the media, but they do. The Weather Channel.
Oh, yeah.
So, remember,
what?
do you have those, Britt?
I do. Give me just a second.
Yeah. I don't know if...
the Weather Channel.
I know, crazy, right? So, is this blocking the view of the TV at all? Because we're going to be throwing some stuff up here on the TV.
No.
Nope, you're good.
Okay, cool.
Was there a fake hurricane?
No, but they tend to exaggerate, and there were two instances where they exaggerated.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Here we go. All right. And you got my volume up, right? On the my computer.
You are up.
First, the severe flooding here in the Northeast as more rain continues to fall today. NBC's Michelle Kaczynski, I guess she's in the canoe, is in Wayne, New Jersey this morning.
Hey,
Michelle, good morning to you.
Good morning. Well, obviously we're getting a nice break from the rain, but not the flooding. This is essentially now part of the Passaic River in this neighborhood. It rushed in yesterday through the streets, and it's really tough to control a canoe or a boat when you're out in it. It's much deeper back there because
it's
this
much
is
deeper
really
back here.
moving.
Sure, yeah.
As soon as you get into people's homes, they started realizing it's time to get out of here. And in some areas today, more
All right,
now hang on.
Is there another?
There is another one after this one.
Okay, yeah, that was... Oh, so you got both clips on here?
Yeah, after so many days... thousands.
Let's see.
Gonna go.
Maybe I got both.
Let me carry and walking through yesterday.
All right, yeah, I do. I have the other clip here in a second.
Okay, so yeah, that was one of them where you see the people walking by in ankle deep water.
It's kind of just sad though for her. Like, oh, good try.
Yep. The other one was a little more recent, and it was this guy. Here we go.
I do remember this. Yeah.
Yeah, this one was pretty funny too.
Play.
Maybe thinking about it.
Oh,
There you go.
Wilmington, North Carolina, right at the Intracoastal, and we're in one of these bands. This is about
the guys are just walking like clearly behind, but he's like, "Oh my gosh, hurricane force winds!" The guys are just like, like in shorts,
dudes back there in shorts and Jordans.
What's funny is the response that from the Weather Channel, they defended this one, and I kind of get it. I mean, they said, well, he was standing at an incline on wet grass, and it was blowing hard. It may not have been blowing hard where they were. Blah 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 blah. You know, it still doesn't look good.
Yeah, right. No, it's not a good look.
See, I told you.
Yeah,
it's tricky.
So who would have thought that the Weather Channel would fall within the lines of these? I don't want to say fake news.
That's totally legit though.
Yeah,
like, those two examples are completely accurate. Now, I mean, I'm gonna jump to the defense of the Weather Channel because like we've all seen the clips where like the dude almost gets blown away. But yeah, if you're trying to drum up views on your Weather Channel, which nobody really watches,
right.
That's
you see it a lot on there. But sometimes I feel like it's to dramatize the situation, so people will actually look at it.
Well, the weathermen are wrong like 50% of the time, right? So it's like anything they can do to bring their positive ratings up, they're like, oh, we got I don't get the fact that they have to be in the weather. Like,
yeah, right.
You can just say it's really cold outside. You don't have to be outside telling me that it's cold outside. I get it. It's like below 20. I get it.
They make cameras people don't have to hold.
Exactly.
Yeah. The only time that
fly a drone out there or something.
The only time they really have to be accurate is rain, and a lot of that has to do with agriculture. Because if they predict an inch of rain and we don't get it, farmers and construction workers and people that rely that can't work in the weather get mad. But if they predict like 2 inches of snow and we don't get it, who's mad?
Well, the schools that don't go to school and have to make up days.
Oh my gosh! We just recently had that here.
We did. So
I got you.
Logan said when we start playing clips again that the audio needs to be up a little more.
Gotcha.
I told him.
Thanks,
he
Logan.
told me to turn it down.
Yeah.
He also said that lady can't drive a boat to save her life, which is pretty funny.
Yes, the true essence of the story.
Thanks, Logan.
Yeah. Anybody got anything else on Weather Channel?
I do. Just one more second here.
All right.
So
uno momento.
There was a here. You want to grab your own cup here?
Not really, but
I got you. I just had to switch hands.
Yeah. This seems convenient.
It does. Well, you just gotta lean in on it a little bit. But there was one that I wasn't able to find, and it was funny because like the camera crew was up where the normal road was at, and the reporter was down in the ditch, and he was like waist deep in water, but he was way down there, and everybody else was in the road, and like somebody walked by and took a picture. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's in the lowest part you can be.
Why are you in the ditch? It's raining.
Exactly. Yeah. Everybody's here on the road. And it's fine.
Yeah. You're in the drainage ditch.
Pretty much.
That's a weird choice. Why would you go there?
Yeah. There's going to be a lot more water in the drainage ditch. That's where the water goes.
So I have one from the Weather Channel, and I don't have the clip, so forgive me. I'll see if I can find it.
I'm sure people can interwebs it.
I'm certain that it's Googleable.
There, hey, the word of the day.
Yeah, there it is.
Someone should Google that if that's a word.
And we just owe them like $10 right now.
Yeah,
so.
right. No, there's a clip of the Weather Channel, and I remember it. I don't remember what the storm was. It was a hurricane, and I don't know. I couldn't tell you which one it was, but there was a news person, and they're out there filming, and they're being dramatic about how crazy the eye wall is coming, and all these,
the storm,
and some crazy probably teenager 20-something dude runs by with the horse mask on in the background, just completely making a mockery of the whole scene. Yeah. We'll have to see if we can find the clip, but yeah, same deal.
I actually on here. If we want to do it later, I don't know if we want to do it during the show, but It's about 10 minutes long, but it's 2018 funniest moments of the news.
Oh, yeah.
And like one of them I was watching, it was cracked me up. This guy was reporting a story about something across the street, and all of a sudden you see this kid come around the corner with like a giant plant in his hand, and he books it like he stole the plant or something like that.
Yeah, I've seen that a couple times.
Anyway,
here it is. It was Hurricane. It was Hurricane Sandy.
There you go.
So you guys can go find it, and they're doing the whole thing.
Oh, there it is. Yeah,
here comes
Dude,
the guy
jogging in shorts and a horse mask.
He's in shorts and he's shirtless and he's got a horse mask on, just running.
Awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's worth a look here. Let me back it up. It's there you go. Here he comes. There's your guy, Hurricane Sandy. It's a nightmare.
Jogging with his shorts on.
Nice.
What a nightmare.
Oh man.
Fake news.
Come on.
Fake weather reporting.
Some of the other stuff here. The next one I got isn't really fake news, just kind of more misrepresenting. Let's get all the facts straight. Do you remember when the Honduran horde was coming up? And back in November,
the caravan,
which
the
we
caravan.
have
horde.
Well, depending on
World of Warcraft.
Yeah, the horde. Some people were calling them immigrants. The media was calling them immigrants, and to me, people that are 12,000 people deep carrying flags from their home country is not immigrants. There's another word for that.
Refugees at best, right?
Yeah.
But maybe something else. Who knows?
But anyway, they were talking about all the tear gas that Trump was using. How dare he do all this stuff, and that's inhumane and all that. Turns out that it's been going on since 2010. It's a way to do crowd control.
Well, yeah, it's a safe way to do crowd control.
And the previous administration had used it way more than he ever had. So, I mean, if you're gonna call somebody out, at least call both out.
Well, so I feel like this is a good segue for me to bring up what I mentioned earlier, which is as I was researching the topic, because that's what you do when you come on Drink Talk, so you don't sound like an idiot.
ID 10T.
One of the things that I came across was these like principles of fair or ethical journalism, and there's like 9 different versions of it, right? So sometimes there's like 5 principles or 10 or 9 or 7 principles of journalism or whatever.
9 are in there.
Whatever.
Talking from a walkie-talkie.
Whatever. It's a totally Googleable thing.
Sure.
I'm gonna stick with it, guys.
Sure, that's fine.
I'm not gonna give
Play
up
it all
on
out.
I'm not gonna give up on this bit.
Apparently, Google owes you money or something like that. And the more you say it, the more money you're getting in your pocket.
How many times? If you can say it 100 times.
We're working towards an endorsement today.
Both Miriam and Webster owe me the money.
Throw a logo up.
But no, in any one of those lists that you come across, like fairness and impartiality, and then also context are those principles, right? So you have to give fairness in the context of whatever it is you're reporting. You need to give fairness and impartiality from whatever 2 sides of an argument, and independence, truth and accuracy, whatever these things come out to, accountability, humanity. Like they're all different, all these lists, but you can imagine what they are. I encourage you to go look, because frankly, going and looking, I'm not like I never took a journalism class in my life, right? I'm an IT nerd, but going and looking at those things kind of gave me the knowledge that would help me kind of scrutinize and apply some critical thinking to when you're looking at the news and the different news sources and the way that it's reported.
It's perspective of what you're missing in the news these days.
Right. Like, I learned a long time ago, like kind of the flaws in logic when you're trying to have an argument about something, and, there's like the straw man argument or attacking the person, not the argument, or slippery slope. And there's all these different flaws in logic. And looking at this journalism thing, I kind of drew a parallel there where I was like, okay, you know what? This will change the way that I look at the news if I know that there's these specific things that the news ought to be held accountable to. And when I look at it, and when I look at a news article now, I can go, wait a minute, they're not applying fairness and impartiality here, right? Or whatever it is, and it kind of just helps you kind of scrutinize the news as you receive it and take it as input.
And to that point,
more input.
Yeah,
I just watched Johnny Five. Yeah, I just watched
Short Circuit.
That was a great movie.
Oh man,
Need more input.
I love that. It's like what's the new one out? Well, there was Wall-E. That was kind of a similar. Wasn't struck by lightning, but
no.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. I get premise. He became alive.
Sure. Yeah. No. To your point, though, if you're watching something where they're attacking what you think is like policies or something that person is talking about, if you notice, there's a lot of people that just start doing character assassination, and that's one thing that's not, to me, that's like yellow journalism. You can't argue them on the facts of what they're talking about, so we'll just attack and we're seeing a lot of that.
Sure.
Character assassination. What was the you just brought?
That's been a huge thing lately.
Well, and you just brought one up from today. That was it. The governor of Virginia.
Yeah.
Where somebody is calling him out on something from he wrote that.
Yeah,
a picture of him in 1984 in a yearbook.
Yeah, and he has colored his face to look.
Yeah. I heard about this.
Yeah. So.
Oh, was it the coal mine or what?
No.
Well, we talked about the coal miner thing after that, but he had colored his face to look potentially like an African American.
Sure.
Yeah. Which is. But
it was from many years.
Yeah,
1984.
A very long time ago.
Yeah,
he was a young man.
Yes.
A young man, and quite frankly, probably a jerk, right? Like,
and potentially drunk. Who knows?
Who wasn't a drunk jerk when we were, in our 20s, right? And who didn't do dumb, inappropriate, wrong stuff that we now horribly regret,
right?
Right. And
but we are
not
better
running
people.
we're not running for governor or things of that nature.
I'm just saying, like, that's kind of human nature. And what I would say is, if someone made mistakes in their past like that, let's take the Kevin Hart for the Oscars thing, right? If you don't know, look it up, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, okay, the guy made mistakes in his past, and he's clearly made up for that and grown as a person. I would rather respect.
He even came out and apologized as well.
I would rather respect a person for their ability to learn and grow from their mistakes, and respect them for the person they are now.
This shows a lot more character, I think, if you're willing to learn and grow from something. Then
like what happened with Steve Harvey when he hosted the was it Miss America? He was hosting that?
And he made a
called the wrong person out for the winner.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah, trash, right?
Yeah.
I feel the same way. This is a weird leap of a correlation.
We're
here.
on a tangent. It's okay.
It's fine. I feel the same way about politicians. Remember, I can't remember the year of the election, but who was Bush's opponent?
Which one?
He got just destroyed for flip flop.
Al
right?
Gore.
No, the other one.
Dan Quayle.
No, wrong Bush. It was Kerry, I think, is who it was. But
Bob Kerry.
Yeah. And he got just torn apart for flip flop. Right. It was the flip flop argument for the entire campaign was, well, he flip flops. He changed his mind a dozen times. Right.
When presented with new evidence.
Exactly. Right. This is my point. Like, great. That's a wonderful quality that I want to have in a politician. You mean that he didn't have all the information and refused to assume that he knew everything and to be a stubborn jerk about it, and when presented with new information, changed his mind? Fantastic. I'm in, right?
Awesome.
That sounds wonderful.
Hi, Erica. Good night, Erica. She said hi earlier, and now she's going to bed. So
she's hanging out. She's hanging out down in Florida right now.
Oh, yeah. So she's it's 11 o'clock for her.
Party down there.
Nighty night.
Night night.
All right. Yeah, should we move on to the next one?
I'm moving in for another beer.
Next. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was you can do
There
your
you
own on
go,
this
sir.
one. So the next one, Britt, I think if you want to cue up the next video.
Yeah.
So this one was from, it was a Fox affiliate. Q13 is the name of it, out of Seattle, Washington.
Did you want me to do the side by side?
The side by side would be great. So what they did was they took one of Trump's speeches and they altered it and released it as news. And then somebody along the line was like, you know what? I remember this, and it didn't look like that, and he wasn't doing that. So they put a side by side together to say,
yeah, what's up with that?
What's up with that?
So the one on the left here is the actual CNN news broadcast. The one on the right is an off, like it says Q13 news.
Yeah, it's a Fox News affiliate.
Exactly. It's a news somewhere else in some other city.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just watch the two, and you'll see the one on the right go a little weird towards the end.
Really?
Hopefully, we can rise above partisan politics in order to support national security. Some have suggested a barrier is immoral. Then why do wealthy
like he's licking his lips entirely too much?
Yeah, like creepy.
We can do this one more time. It's only 13 seconds.
Hopefully, we can rise above partisan politics in order to support national security. Some have suggested a barrier is immoral.
I mean,
then why do wealthy politicians...
It was the editor. It was whoever was working at that station as an editor, but it went out to a lot of other news programs as the news.
Yeah. Huh. So,
apparently Trump's got some dry lips.
Maybe it was a malfunction.
Need some chapstick.
We don't know.
Well, that report, they got fired for it. But the program that they were using, apparently, because this has come out, and I knew of this program, but it has just been all over the news lately, if you've been paying attention, is called Deep Fake.
Oh, yeah.
So Deep Fake is a spinoff of Google's DeepMind project. It's an AI. The actual definition is artificial intelligence-based human image synthesis technique, which means basically you can alter videos, and it's hard to tell the difference as to what's real. So you can basically make somebody
alter videos is really understating it, though.
Yeah,
Brian.
because he didn't lick his lips at all, or if he did, it was on a clip that we didn't see, and they just submitted that.
That was just them like repeating that one little section.
Well, the IT guy's about to come out, so
you go right
ahead. So part of this is yes. You can make things seem like they weren't actually the way that they were.
You can also...
What that really means is that I can effectively, to the extent... You guys are all familiar with the extent to which you can Photoshop a picture.
Yes.
Right?
Sure.
I can make pretty much anything look realistic with Photoshop in a picture. Mm-hmm. The technology has advanced now to where you can Photoshop a video to a wild extreme. And if I have enough audio of you speaking, I can manipulate the audio and Photoshop the video. Photoshop is a verb that's not accurate to the product name, so
photo video.
Wasn't that
nothing against Adobe Photoshop the product here.
But isn't that Adobe came out with that for audio?
Yeah. So here's the deal. If I have video of your face and I have audio of you talking, enough of it, I can pretty much make a full-fledged video that is indistinguishable from real life of you saying just about anything.
There's videos of this online. I've seen this. It's very interesting.
What's it called?
So Deep Fake is what they use.
Deep Fake, yeah.
But there's other stuff out there, but this is just one of the things, and it's
because you were talking about this about a month ago, and you're like, we'd like to do an episode on that.
Yep, and I would like to do a deeper episode because we've done AI technology, but we really haven't zoned in on stuff that's really going to come out that's going to be really difficult to tell what's real and what's not.
Thanks for the Girl Scout cookies.
Oh yeah, shout out. So if you're watching the video, we are eating on some Girl Scout cookies. I have 2 daughters that are both selling them. So if you need some Girl Scout cookies, post something to the video, and we'll get you a little hookup here. So
is that take your daughter's list to work thing? Only we're doing it
kind of.
Yeah, something like
why not?
So I have the 1-minute video where it was made of Obama saying, apparently saying things.
That's the one that I saw. Yeah,
that is completely edited and fake.
And if you're really watching it, like the lips.
I mean, I can pull it up.
You got to pull it up over here.
Yeah.
Do you
put it on the TV?
Just.
Why don't you go over there and I'll keep talking about deep fake and all that stuff.
I mean, is it a YouTube thing?
The video is pretty amazing. It really is.
What's it called?
It's called "You Won't Believe What Obama Says in This Video."
So, and also while Britt's doing that, I do want to be fair on this a little bit. And the White House just released one recently. It was the CNN reporter Jim Acosta, and they released a video where they altered it. Ooh, pardon me. To make it seem like he had hit one of the interns when she was grabbing for a microphone.
Right. Yeah, I recall that.
So if you slowed it down and you looked at it, they ended up finding out that it was faked video. So because there were multiple angles, there were multiple people taking stuff, so they could tell what they had edited out from the video. So I do want to be fair in that it's not just the left against Trump, that the White House is doing it too also. Yeah. So you all queued up there, Britt?
That's
right. Is this the video?
That's the one, yeah. So this is not a real video. Let's preface this before anybody sees it. This is an AI generated fake
all
video.
100% fake.
Well, I mean, it's
Well, I mean,
generated
it was
from,
him, but
yeah.
he didn't actually say these words
Correct.
in this fashion.
Correct, yeah.
Entering an era in which our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time, even if they would never say those things. So, for instance, they could have me say things like, I don't know, Killmonger was right, or Ben Carson is in the sunken place, or, how about this, simply, President Trump is a total and complete dipshit. Now, you see, I would never say these things, at least not in a public address, but someone else would. Someone like Jordan Peele. This is a dangerous time. Moving forward, we need to be more vigilant with what we trust from the internet. That's a time when we need to rely on trusted news sources. It may sound basic, but how we move forward in the age of information is going to be the difference between whether we survive or whether we become some kind of fucked up dystopia. Thank you.
F-bomb, sorry.
Stay woke,
That's
bitches.
all right. That's all right. We can edit that out later for the audio.
That's a legit video right there, man.
Yeah.
For the
Well,
topic,
and
absolutely.
If you know Obama's voice, I mean, that is a little off.
You could tell.
And it was
yeah.
because someone else was doing it.
Said
It was,
about President Obama. I'm going to quote you.
Okay.
It's a little southern.
On Facebook, we don't have any explanations, but on iTunes, Google Play Music, we have to edit that.
Yeah, sure.
Other than that,
That's fine.
We're
We'll
fine.
get it.
Sometimes we say it. It happens.
it slipped out. Sorry. So yeah,
It's okay.
I do.
Demonetized.
Yeah,
It's okay.
I would like to do a whole episode on that because there is some stuff that's coming down the pipeline that's pretty crazy on that stuff. Oh boy, this next one, this is the big one, where we can spend some time on this one. Does anybody have anything else that they want to share? Any stories that they want to bring up before this next one?
I mean, I have a topic, but I don't know where it's going to fit, and there's no proper segue. So here we go.
All right.
Sometimes that's the best way to do it.
I didn't have an order other than
horrible segue.
Yeah.
Horrible segue into. Can I just point out that I'm one of those people that simply avoids all news sources whatsoever. Like, I've cut the cord. I don't have cable. Any show that I watch on YouTube. Shout out to Hot Ones. Good work. Most watched show on YouTube.
It's on.
Really?
It's
I don't
on.
know what that is.
It's on Chicken Wings.
It's
Yeah, you got.
fantastic.
Yeah.
We'll write that down.
We'll wait till we get sponsorship dollars for that.
Yeah.
But no, every show that I watch is based on Facebook, and I'll list them off. I mean, Hot Ones, Valley Folk, used to be SourceFed. I mean, every show that I watch is a YouTube show, and has no cable television presence whatsoever. The answer, if anyone starts a conversation with me with, "Hey Mike, did you see that episode of?"
No.
The answer is no. I didn't see Game of Thrones. I've never watched a minute of Game of Thrones.
I watched 2 episodes of it, and that was it.
I've never seen a second of Orange is the New Black or Walking Dead or whatever other show that everyone watched. I didn't frickin' watch it. None of them. Not a one. I don't have cable. I don't have HBO. I don't have anything, right? I have YouTube.
Yeah.
And I don't have Netflix. To this day, I do not have Netflix. I don't have Hulu. I have Amazon Prime, but only because I want the free 2-day shipping. And so, but I have access to some like movies and stuff. And I'll tell you what I watch: Amazon Prime Originals, right? Which is like 100% internet-based content. Like it's not on cable,
like Netflix originals.
Yeah, and I love it.
I recently got rid of Netflix myself. It was more my wife's opinion doing it. There was something that Netflix put out. It was kind of almost like child pornography / child rape thing going on. Yeah, going on in this movie.
No thanks.
And Netflix was like, sure, we'll put that on here. That's fine.
Ugh.
Yeah, and I never saw it, and I never really heard the story about it. But she wanted to get rid of it, and I'm like, you know what? Save $10 a month, sweet.
Well, so to bring it back,
later.
Though, my deal is the news, right? The news is awful. It is awful, and every time I accidentally see any news channel or show or program whatsoever, even if I just open a newspaper on accident, I'm like, good God, no thanks.
Yep.
No thanks. I'll watch whatever. I'll stumble upon just ABC Nightly News for 20 minutes, and it's like 10 dead in Florida from this or that, or child murdered for this. I'm like, oh my, no thanks. I don't need that in my life. I'm good.
And just the fact that they advertise these people is partially what continues the trend.
Well, yeah, right. That's what gets whatever gets the clicks, whatever gets the views. That's what they're going to put up.
That's
there.
the thing that drives me crazy. These people shouldn't exist in media. It should be, maybe the victim should exist, but the people doing this should not exist in media because that is what keeps driving this trend.
Well, and to put some numbers to this, on our last episode last year that we did, I actually did the numbers of viewership for like mainstream media, and it is staggeringly low. It is way low. Like Food Network has more viewership than mainstream news media.
Yep.
The problem excuse me, the problem I see with that is like you, I'm sure there are tons of people in your corner that are like, yeah, I turn on the news and I turn it off immediately, so I just stop watching the news. The problem with that
is now we're uninformed.
An uninformed public.
Versus misinformed, right? Like
right, exactly.
That's the quote you said earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Julia joined. Everyone say hi.
Hi, Julia.
Hi, Julia.
At my work, in my office, I've got a cable box. I've got TV going. I always turn it on. First thing I do when I get there, I turn on, CNBC or CNN or Fox News or whatever I just choose to watch that day, whoever I want to listen to, I guess. But I also see, like, if I'm cranking out the emails and I'm there for a while, I'm not really watching it. I'm just more listening to it and stuff. I'll hear the same story like 5 times. I'm like,
yep,
this is why people aren't watching. It's just repetitive news. But they've also got to capture the person that comes on that next minute. It's like,
I got 30 seconds to, not even, like 16 seconds to capture your attention.
So here is a picture of the front of the White House. We're still waiting for him to come out. It's like,
man, brutal.
Every time you see anything on there, though, you have to go to Google, and then you Google it, and then you're like, is Google biased? Because there's all the lawsuits with Google.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, algorithms I don't believe can be biased, but there's stuff going on there. It's a discussion.
So here's a topic for you, Brian, and I'm going to go a couple of different directions with this. One is I read an article as I was researching the topic tonight that about notifications, right?
Mm-hmm.
So online,
like on your apps and all that.
So on your apps, right?
Okay.
So on your phone, notifications. On your PC, you get notifications.
Sure.
On all these different things. And here's the deal: I read some numbers. I can't recite them to you. I'm sorry, but the numbers were basically that when people get these notifications,
Mike,
that are just pop-ups.
People are here for numbers.
Well,
right?
Sorry. Well,
no, I'm just kidding.
I didn't do the research.
That's fine.
The article that I read, which may have been biased, let's be fair, right, was that when you get notifications on your phone or on your PC or whatever, that the very, very large, vast majority don't read beyond the headline. You get a notification and they read the headline and they're like, got it, and I'm not reading the article. The headline tells me everything I need to know, and that is a major problem because the headlines are
just
horribly
look at Reddit. Look at Reddit.
Horribly deceptive and misleading, right?
Yeah.
Well, Britt, I will say,
look at Reddit. They're trying to grasp you on just a few words.
Yes.
To click on the article to read it.
However,
and oftentimes it doesn't even tell you everything, like what is actually
no
in the
context,
article.
no fairness. I mean, you can't put that into a headline, right? All those principles of journalism that we talked about before.
And we've talked about it before on the program here of Reddit specifically, that I like it because if something is fake or turns out not to be true on Reddit, that thing gets downvoted to oblivion. So you will never see that on the front page. So anything that's on the front page, unless it's like brand new and people are just outraged by it, if it's still there a day later, there's probably some validity to it, and it's probably accurate.
Ooh, using the big words like the dictionary, the validity.
SAT words.
I know, right? Even after a few beers. That's crazy.
I like it.
Yeah.
So that kind of does segue into the next one here. Waiting a few days to figure out what's going on. So
right.
The backpedaling effect.
Oh,
yeah.
I hear there's going to be an Indian involved here.
Yeah, Native American, Brits.
A Native American. My fault.
We're not in Columbus's day here.
Well, I don't know. I'm just using some terms and stuff. But come to find out, I guess they called him.
Well, so should we say, before we get too far into it,
okay,
for those that have lived under a rock for the past few
days,
2 weeks,
2 weeks,
2 weeks, 2 weeks, we're talking about the Coventry Catholic School from Kentucky.
Oh,
yes,
right,
where they were at the march,
wearing a MAGA hat,
March for Life in Washington D.C., and there was a video that was posted of them surrounding a Native American. And
hold on.
No, I'm just saying what came out first. Okay?
What came out first was they surrounded him.
This is
That's what came out first.
This is the what I'm talking about. What came out first.
Yep.
Just in case people were wondering what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Britt, go ahead with what you were going to say about.
Oh well, yeah. They did not surround. They did not surround the Native American. The Native American came up to them.
Yes.
They were standing, wearing their "Make America Great" hats, and minding their own business. There was another group off in the corner doing some hateful speech stuff, I guess, or whatnot.
What was so they were. Give me a second here.
I don't know what they were doing, but anyway,
they were Hebrew nationals.
So what I read was there was like 4 or 5 different events happening out in front of the Capitol. Was it at the Capitol that day? I'm pretty sure.
As a place.
Yeah,
where that stature would happen.
Where people do those things, right?
It was a march, yeah.
But there was a Native American event, there was a Make America Great event, there was a Hebrew National event, and they were all independent and separate.
It was all
then
there
they
for...
all got commingled,
yeah,
right?
but you don't commingle
Which is a mess,
things.
right?
No, it's a mess. And anyway, the Indian marched right up to the kid, Native American, beating his drum, and they said that the kid... What was the first official thing they said?
But he smirked at him.
Yeah, well, he was. He was just sitting there, just with kind of a happy smile. He did
smug, jerk-like face, whatever.
He did nothing. He literally just stood there, not knowing what to do, really, and just smiling for the camera. And it wasn't until a few days later that
the other videos
started coming out where people were like, well, this is really what happened, and come to find out they were painting this Native American as a soldier. He was not a soldier.
Yes. Okay, I've got the facts on that.
All right, let's get it. Let's hear the true facts.
This is important. Yeah, facts are.
Let's get it right.
Facts. All right, so
we got to be truthful here on Drink Talk.
Sorry, after we tell this story, I have a valid question here. Are we considered a form of journalism? Because if we are, we gotta get it together.
Right, we need better graphics.
Yes. Yeah. And also truthfulness, and fairness,
which is why I wanted to stop you. I mean, there is some validity to what he said, but some not truth. So
I watch a lot of different things on YouTube.
No, it's all right. So it came out that he was like a Vietnam vet and all this stuff, and so, there are lots of videos where, and I'm getting all my information from multiple sources, including Snopes, which I know can be biased sometimes, but
sure,
they do at least try and get all the facts out there. So,
the fact is, I eat the peanut butter first and the peanut butter cookies. By the way,
just like the Oreo cookies, the filling first. Nice.
They're good. They're good cookies.
They are
just like the peanut butter first.
Excuse me. So Nathan Phillips is his name.
Mm-hmm.
Actually did serve in the Marine Reserves from 1972 to 1976, which technically is during the Vietnam War. Now, he was in the reserves in California, and the Marines were actually in Vietnam up until 1971. So as a Marine, he wouldn't have been there anyway, but he was in the reserves and in California. And also, the last person out of Vietnam was in 1973. So technically, he's Vietnam era, but he's not in. He's not a
Vietnam-ish.
So now that gets into technicalities and
sounds like a dish, a Vietnam dish.
That opens up an opportunity for media outlets to skew the facts and make their own reality.
Right. Now, this really doesn't have any bearing on the entire story other than the facts.
Yeah.
Like the truthfulness of him. So it came out initially that he was a Vietnam vet, that he said he was a Vietnam vet. Well, what he actually said was that he was a Vietnam era vet. So that technically is true. He is a Vietnam era vet. But there's lots of other videos of him where he
didn't get on a plane and go over there.
There's a lot of other videos out there, not just from this, but that he has released on the internet that make it seem like he is stealing some valor. He is on a Stolen Valor website because there are videos out there of him stating that he was in Vietnam, that he was in theater, and all that. So
he was in theater. What does that mean?
In war.
So when you're in the military, theater,
I have a theater background. So he was on stage.
Being in theater in the military.
He was the puppet master. What?
You're in the war zone.
Gotcha.
Whatever that.
In the theater. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yep. So, that part is the fact that he is a soldier in the Marines. That part is true. He was in the reserves, and he was in during the time of Vietnam, because actually the VA actually considers Vietnam era up until 1975, even though the last person left in 1973. So his time was technically within the Vietnam era time.
Okay. I mean, that's not a level of scrutiny that I'm willing to go to. Like if you're talking about military veterans, and okay, let's Vietnam theoretically basically ended in 73, but I was in the Marines until 75, so you know what, for me in the year 2019, count it.
You
served. Probably knew a bunch of people. I'll give you that,
right? And again, that doesn't hold as much bearing on his military service, doesn't hold as much bearing on this entire story, other than the truthfulness of him.
Right.
That's the only.
Well, and the media portrayal. That's the thing, is like, that's what we're getting at here, is like the media can skew facts to tell a story the way that they want to.
That being said, because we had kind of talked before at the beginning of the program that we don't really see any apologies or retractions or all that, and once the media did find out that, well, in fact, he wasn't in Vietnam, because they portrayed him as a Vietnam War veteran, which he's a Vietnam era veteran, not a Vietnam War veteran. So there was some retractions from.
There was. They came out and said
New York Times put a retraction in there. CNN did a retraction. There was a couple others that did a retraction. So that they did actually put that out there, which was good.
They actually put it on page 2 instead of page 5.
That's a valid point, though. It's like, we should talk about the validity of retractions, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's kind of the whole point of what we're talking about here, right? Is the media backpedaling and being like, we jumped to this conclusion, and turns out we were completely wrong.
And they're oftentimes just swept to the side. You never actually see the retractions.
Yeah, it's on page 6 on the back. I don't got time for reading in the back there.
Yeah, sure, right.
Even when my story that I wanted to read is on the back, I don't have time for
that. Yeah.
See page 6.
I like the cartoon section.
One of the things that I was here is, when there's a story that I find particularly relevant or interesting, that I'm willing to read, even if I'm reluctant, right? Because most news I'm reluctant to read, particularly in this climate, right? It's all filth. But if there's something like, I'll be honest, like in the last 24 hours, I got the notifications on my phone and on my PC that was like, the United States pulled out of armistice deals or treaty deals with Russia, like potentially reinstigating like the Cold War, right? That's horrifying. Mm-hmm. Well, as much as I'm reluctant to go read that and ruin my day, I feel like it's relevant enough that I should really go learn up on it, right? Where do I go? That's the question, right? It's like, okay, to your question from earlier, Britt, who do you trust? Well, here's what I do. When there's a real story that I really am like, all right, I need to know what's going on here, here's what I do. Brian appropriately is pulling up the chart here of like, who should you actually trust?
Brian, I love your
But
research.
Here's what I do. Here's what I do is I go, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go listen to Fox News, which I know is going to be ridiculously right-leaning and probably misinformed. Right. And then I'm going to go listen to like MSNBC, which I know is going to be like very, very largely left-leaning.
Try to find a center point.
And then I'm going to go look at like the AP and see what facts they have. And then I'm going to go look at like Reuters and some other. And then I'm going to go look at like what's the Arabic one? The
Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera, right? Like, okay, fine. I'll take their opinion too. They're probably just as bad as Fox News and MSNBC, right?
They're actually a pretty decent.
They are.
It's
pretty
actually
decent, right?
very good. I know to start checking other countries, the way that they report our news is actually it's been very informative.
Well, so I can read an article knowing that it's right-leaning. I can read the other article knowing that it's left-leaning. Theoretically, in my own mind, like generate some center point, and then try to find as much fact as I can, and then I'll generate what I believe is the real story in my own mind, which is like awful that's what it takes.
That's what it all comes down to, though, is generating what it is to you after your amount of research that you've done. I can Google and Yahoo or whatever and just search engine to death, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, none of those stories is what I believe. I don't believe any one thing. It's just what I put together of the culmination of what I actually look at.
You do know that Yahoo is the people that are collecting everyone's data right now. It is
which
Google,
is great. So they know everything.
Yeah, right.
No, that's Google.
That's one theory.
YouTube grabs it and then sells it to Google.
Anyway, what I wanted to say on Mike's is I do the exact same thing with weather. So I look at WWT, I look at the Weather Channel, and I look at my phone's app, and somewhere in the middle there's
reality.
I'll find the weather.
There's a reality. Yeah.
It's unfortunate that we have to go to multiple different sites just for the weather. Now for the news, we have to go to more than that. I mean, it's you have to look at a left site, you have to look at a right site, you have to look at the middle.
And that's kind of what
there is no middle.
So I was just going to say that real quick on that. So Reuters Reuters and Politico tend to be more accurate. What's funny is they
tend to be more accurate
than less accurate
than everybody else.
Yeah, they're hitting the bullseye on the dartboard.
Well, so the way that the chart
they're near the bullseye.
Exactly.
The way that the chart describes it, though,
more near the bullseye.
They got a 10.
Is fair, right? The way that the chart describes it is fair. Is they do fact reporting,
right in the middle,
but that's it, right? Yep. They're like, this was the statement that was made, and that's it, right? Here's a quote, and that's all they do, right? And so the thing is like there's not a lot
of context. You have to put it in context.
There's not a lot of context. There's not a lot of interpretation. There's not a lot of added value to that. The problem is that as you go down kind of the spectrum, added value turns into added value and interpretation and things to weakened value into misinformation into outright BS, right?
Right.
Yeah, but sometimes you need the lead into what this actually affects.
Right, exactly. Like, here's what you need to consider. You know, that's a helpful conversation for
But on the second hand, normally what you need to consider is very skewed as to how you should consider it.
Right, and that's the balance, right, is to find like, I need helpful information added to the context of that random statement that we got from some politician. But I don't need your opinion. I don't need to be swayed or persuaded in any particular direction.
So we recently saw a public address from the Oval Office from Trump. And the first time, I believe, ever there was a rebuttal from the Democrats that they got to stand at a podium and say something. I have never, in the term of all the presidencies that I've seen, have seen a rebuttal from the other side. It was the president reported from the Oval Office, told you what it was, and I have never seen Democrats or Republicans, whatever side of the fence that is, happens, come and say, I need 10 minutes of airtime to undo what this guy just did.
Yeah. Well, they always do that with the State of the Union. There's always a rebuttal to the State of the Union
This was just
address.
the State of the Union address.
Well, that comes.
But this was just
Tuesday.
an oval audit.
Is that happening? I was just going to ask that. Is
that they
Tuesday?
redid it.
Sorry, I quit watching the news. Yeah. What's the status? Are we having a State of the Union?
So it was delayed, and so
it was delayed. It was denied.
No, it's delayed.
It was denied.
February 5th on Tuesday.
Hey, I ground you. I don't know. I don't
know what that means. So is there context?
Pelosi wanted to fly.
Okay.
So he goes,
right,
I ground you, and she goes, you're not having a State of the Union.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ultimately what is happening here.
So we're having petty childhood and
exactly.
That seems right.
Yep.
It all seems right.
Now we're getting Brit's media bias over here.
I'm just the way I'm seeing it as, you know, I ground you, and then she's like, well, you can't have your State of the Union.
I saw all that. I didn't know if we were going to have one or not. And then there was a deal that was like, well, he's going to have one, but it won't be in the House or the Senate. Yeah. He'll do it from, I don't know,
somewhere else.
The front lawn of the White House or
it's
something.
Like a golf course.
Can we put the choppers in the background? Can I put the choppers in the background? Thank you.
Yeah, with this current Congress, is like, these are the days of our lives.
It is a soap opera.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's more like a telenovela.
This week,
real intense.
Yes, someone was disinvited to the House,
and someone will dance off stage.
Yep.
Doug joined us. Everyone say hi, Doug.
Again, hey, Doug.
What's up, Doug?
Welcome back, Doug. Or have you been with us the whole time? Because I know you were at the beginning.
He joined a while back.
Yeah, Justin's also here.
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
From Blair.
Yeah.
Blair, Nebraska, just a country mile north.
You guys.
I know. Right.
I'm totally going to buy a truck up there.
On Truck Mountain.
They do have a mountain of them. Yeah.
I'm glad you got the reference.
They have a mountain of them. It's amazing. I don't understand how they survive after a hailstorm.
Fair enough. Right?
No, their insurance policy, I'm sure they're paying probably $50,000 a month on their insurance policy.
I'm pretty sure it's more than that.
Or whatever.
You know how many trucks are on Truck Mountain?
Right, but then they discount them. Some guy comes and hail pops them.
Hey, guys!
And they resell them for the same.
No free advertising.
Yeah, there's a lot of farmers that would buy a hail damaged truck. Like seriously, it's going to be on the field.
Fair, yeah.
I don't care.
That's fair.
We were talking about where to find good news source and all that stuff. I've accidentally stumbled upon a free app that you can download. You can put it on your phone. You can put it on your streaming devices that you have on your TV. It's called Pluto TV. Have you ever heard of that?
It's out there.
It's out there. It's way out there.
It's not a planet.
It does exist.
Yeah. Their channels.
It's more of an asteroid.
Their channels vary from.
It's a star.
It's a bright shining star.
It's literally like having free cable. There's music channels that you can go to, and they just play the whatever country and rock and roll. They've got news station networks that provide news. They have they have weird channels like the Chill Channel. Channel 420, of course, is the THC channel.
Do they have a Netflix and Chill channel?
Anyway,
that costs extra.
It's a neat network. I'm plugging Pluto right now. It's actually really cool. Right. Lately, I've been getting updates from Pluto.
Wait,
this sounds awesome.
It took a while to get my update, but
quotes that will prevent you from earning an office.
Exactly.
I'm getting my updates from Pluto.
Pluto tells me when actually there's big live events that the president is doing or the Senate Majority House leaders doing, or so I'm getting my news source through Pluto.
Pluto is all knowing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so we should talk about that, like the validity of your news source. Like, I feel like we were having a discussion earlier about millennials and Gen Zs and whatever's before.
I learned what a Gen Z is today.
Before that, or after that, or whatever.
Yeah. We went from Gen X. Like, okay, let's say we jump 100 years in advance.
We skipped like half an alphabet, but whatever.
Is there anybody that knows why Gen Z is Gen Z?
Because we're Gen X. Millennials are Gen Y, and then Gen Z.
I don't know.
But has there really been 20, almost 26 generations?
I get I was thinking
since we started.
I was actually
isn't there more than that?
I was actually thinking on that today. I was like, since the birth of the United States, like if we started alphabetically, it is plausible that we went through the whole alphabet. I don't know that that's how they got there.
No, I've never heard of Gen B or Gen E.
Who 2,600 years ago was like,
dude,
we're Gen A.
Just so you know, just so you know, the United States has not been around for 2,600 years.
We just created the wheel for Gen A.
Yeah. That's
no. I mean, if you
fake
start
news.
Yeah, like they went back, like our founding fathers were Gen A.
I guess previous generations were only like 25 years old or like 30, but still.
Logan says Pluto is biased.
Pluto is a little biased.
And Drew says
Audience.
It's neat. It's neat TV. They have a channel dedicated for People Are Awesome.
Oh man.
Yeah, and it's just people doing cool stuff.
Legitimately though, the question is by generation. I don't have it, but I would be interested to know scientifically where people get their news.
Well, it looks like the top on both of these charts.
What is your guys' generation?
I'm X.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
I mean, we graduated in 2000, so
I don't know. I'm 36.
You're
whatever
like
that means.
How am I 1 year older than you?
This is what I've been wondering: is where do the classifications start and end?
Well, and the deal is like, okay, millennials define
Wait,
like
if only we had
and who do you associate with?
Well, the deal
even
is
if
like,
it's not
like millennial and Gen X are defined like 9 different ways, right? So to some news article somewhere, you're a millennial, and to 7 others, you're not, right? So, and I'm 36, so I'm like, to someone, I'm a baby boomer, right? I don't know. They're all just, this isn't real stuff. This is all made up by like the news.
Brian's doing the pull up over here.
Yep, I got it right here.
Yeah, but that's one article. That's one biased.
Are we
article.
gonna rely on that?
We're gonna check all the facts.
Google said it was true.
Yeah, no, this
could be fake news.
It's on the internet, so it's true.
Yep. They do have generations. They do have set generations.
All right. Well, who was Generation A?
Well,
was that God?
Is Generation A in there?
I don't know.
That was Adam and Eve.
So the first generation that they have,
Adam and Eve.
the first generation that they have in there is the silent generation, mainly because of silent films.
Why did they start with the silent generation? Where's Generation A?
They didn't speak up. Yeah, they didn't talk.
Exactly. That was 1928 to 1945. Baby boomers, which a lot of our parents, we are.
Take it.
So Miriam's is now Drew. If you're still on,
how come they all get names and we get letters?
So millennials are Gen Y, but they also are known as millennials because they're from the millennium.
But why?
Which is funny because if you look here, probably because they were raised in the millennium because they were born 1981 to 1996. So
I'm just like I'm seeing all that.
It turns out I am very much a millennial.
Yep. So Gen X.
Well, I graduated in 2000.
What are you doing over here, Mike?
It is getting pretty darn low.
Man,
good thing I got some.
We're gonna do it.
It's
gonna happen.
We are definitely gonna happen this, and good thing I got more beer in the fridge.
Yeah. End of the night, trash the joint. That's what I'm up.
Yeah. As long as you don't grab the lampshade.
New set location for the next episode.
I just want to point out we're getting tons of really valid comments right now.
All right.
On the Facebook feed.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, while you're reading those, Mike,
it's Friday night, everybody's coming home from the bar.
Yeah, I'll read up on the years here.
So Drew Sullivan says Gen X started because they were considered the lost or bad generation. Blame boomers for it. And then he said the use of letters for generations start with Generation X. Come on, where was Gen X?
Gen A.
Gen A, yeah. There's a Google link here.
867-5309.
Gen A. I have her number.
Gen A.
Gen A.
Gen A.
Well done.
No, that's a Forrest Gump reference. Absolutely. Gen A.
And a song. Well done.
Yeah, that was good.
Nailed it.
Yep.
We've got it all figured out here.
Yeah. We appreciate the comments on Facebook, though. Fill us in where we're wrong. Or missing info.
We can't.
Drew,
it's tough for
us
to do research.
So we all classify as the same generation, technically?
I'm X.
I don't know.
I graduated in 2000.
I'm the old guy in the room, so I'm X.
You're what, 99?
No, 97.
Like it's 1999.
97.
Yeah, okay, 97. Okay, fine.
96. I was 96.
Was 96?
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
07.
Old.
I know,
07.
Right?
What's that like?
Well, hey, we got all the generations here.
Are you okay?
Things stop working. That's what happens.
Have you ever been east of 120th Street? I'm just.
Yes.
I remember when Omaha didn't go east.
Fair enough.
Or west of 120th Street.
Fair enough.
I remember when Baker's on 132nd and Maple was a cornfield.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Oh, back in my day. We used to eat rocks.
I don't get all the Omaha references here.
No, you don't.
Yeah, well, Sam's like, okay, well.
Okay.
Yep.
I just moved back after a very long stint elsewhere.
All right, man. No shame in it.
No shame.
Welcome back.
All right.
So, thanks, Drew. Appreciate it. Shout out. He's the only one standing up for me.
It's a beautiful city, by the
I
way.
don't even know what he's standing up for.
He said,
Old people.
You guys get to see the comments over there. I don't see the comments over here. I just see the live stream.
Oh, man.
"You'll get it later."
I will.
Like most generations.
Dig it.
You'll figure it out later. Burn.
I'll walk out and get my walker.
Yep. Oh, I got it.
Uphill both ways.
That's actually what Drew just
That's
posted.
what Doug Blaney just said. Uphill both ways.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Nice job, Doug.
Yeah.
Well done. All right. So that's all I had to say for the articles, but I did kind of want to touch on something real quick that I just find interesting through all of this, especially with this last one that we talked about with the Catholic high school kids and the MAGA hats. I don't understand how a phrase "Make America Great Again" and a hat has turned into the KKK. I just don't understand.
Right. I don't see the two together.
Well,
to me, it's Hollywood and the media that have made it that.
I mean,
a little bit.
It's definitely media, and then the full separation of left, like trying to separate that into a full separation
the
of
partisanship
left and right.
is brutal right now, man.
It's unbelievable, and the media plays into that more than I think people are realizing.
Oh, it's
I
awful,
like
man.
the saying. I like "Make America Great Again."
Doesn't, right?
That's a great
look
saying.
at it. Look at it outside, out of context, completely. Like, yeah, make America great.
Yeah,
again.
Well, there was a time,
Who
where
was
we
the
were
president
awesome,
that had
and then
the return to normalcy?
Well, what are we considering normal?
I'm just saying there was a president
Right.
that ran with the return to normalcy quote. Who was was their slogan?
I will say this: I appreciate the quote as much as anybody.
Theodore?
and I think
Theodore?
it's
No.
valid.
Roosevelt?
I think the quote is valid.
False.
False? I don't know.
But one of the questions that I've seen asked
He was in a wheelchair, wasn't he?
was to specifically to Trump supporters, right? So it's a little bit skewed. Was someone would go ask the question like, "Make America Great Again." Okay, when was America great? What year do you want us to return to?
So we call the greatest generation the World War.
When was America awful?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Has it been awful?
When were
Do
we not great?
Is
Or
there a
when were
specific
we-
date?
When were we greatest? Like, what do you want us to go back to? 1950, when we were like super racist and like hung black people in trees? That's
Right.
not okay.
And that's actually what we consider the greatest generation.
Right,
Is
yeah,
the World
exactly,
War,
right.
World War II era. We consider those the greatest generation. And there's a lot of...
I like that you said that.
It's Warren G. Harding.
I actually
with
watched
Return to Normalcy.
Jeez.
Dude,
Sorry about that,
Mosh
guys.
pit.
I thought Mike was the only one
I
destroying
just
stuff
turned
here.
this thing. I had that blue thing on top that kind of held it there. I actually just
Ice. It's called Ice.
I just watched a movie. It was called The Green Book. Have you guys ever heard of it?
No, I've heard of the Green Mile.
I have not.
No,
The
it's
Green
it's
Mile.
Green Book. It's about
You mean the movie about a man with the
Instead of a
initials
mile, we
JC
just get a
who,
book.
accepted the pain and suffering on behalf of everyone else, and then
Yeah.
gave his life. Yeah, weird.
Yeah, weird.
Anyway, it's
Not
the,
biblical.
Sounds reminiscent of other things.
Not biblical at all.
No.
the Green Book is what the African Americans had to carry around back in the 40s and 50s.
That's a thing?
That allowed them to go to places that were okay for them,
Okay.
and it was given.
Okay for them. What is?
So they couldn't stay at certain hotels. They couldn't go to certain restaurants.
And the Green Book allowed them into places,
No,
but
no,
it also
no.
allowed
Green
them
Book
out of places.
No,
Green
it
Book
was a
told
list of acceptable places.
Yeah, for them.
It
Yeah,
was
okay.
it was the yellow pages for
yeah.
acceptability.
So, anyway,
Gross.
It was actually a very decently awesome movie. There was a Guido. Why did I say
You
Guido?
can't say that.
Well, but
I
the movie
think
said
that went
Come on,
there.
man.
the movie said it. There was an Italian fellow that had to drive this guy around, and everybody was kind of making fun of him because he was driving him around, and they were going to go south, and they were going to go real south to a point where he pulled off on the side of the road.
Antarctica.
The
Way south.
Wait, so no, not that far south. But
Warmer than Chicago right now. Just pointing it out.
The driver of the car, the Italian fellow, had to use a restroom, so he just pulls the car off on the side of the road. He's like, the guy in the back is like, well cultured, and he was a musician and a really good dude, you know. He's like, no, we have to stop somewhere. He's like, I'm gonna pee on the side of the road. But then he sees the fields of the cotton pickers and all that stuff. And
Oh,
he's like,
yeah.
he'd never seen that before because he's a classically trained musician.
Yep.
Or fancy, and it shows both sides of the story. Very good movie. Check it out.
Oh, man.
The Green Book.
I watched a documentary on YouTube where I watch everything I ever learn, and it was about one of the state penitentiaries in Louisiana that up until like 1990s used the prisoners in the cotton fields. Like, that's pretty messed up, man. Like,
well, the prison system's pretty messed up. So I mean, that's a whole other topic in itself.
How prison works is pretty.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's a whole.
If you want to have a topic on prison,
like privatization, privatized prisons.
Well, actually, we Brian and I
like
Brian
this
didn't
guy.
Brian didn't I? Yeah, Sam's cool. He's a good guy.
This guy can stay.
Didn't you and I do private prisons?
We touched on that.
We touched on it, but we never did a whole thing about it. But yeah,
No.
private prisons is the thing where they're making money. And
I got a whole family thing about prisons. If you want to go down that route,
let's do an episode on it.
April.
Can we schedule it sometime in 6 months?
Hey, Logan says that Britt needs a screen so you can see the commentary. I think he's right.
I agree.
You need to read this and so you can participate.
So if there's
It's
any sponsors out there that want to buy Britt a screen,
I need another iPad.
on GoFundMe, you can fund the school kids who against Indians,
we
can also.
We were on Patreon, but there are some things that came out with Patreon.
There is one thing though. You want to buy me another screen? Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 things on my Wi-Fi right now. I think we're doing pretty good.
Your Wi-Fi's fine.
My Wi-Fi's fine.
There's your 10.
10. We Cox Communication. They're good.
You gotta pay for every gig though.
They take all my money.
If he gets one more, we gotta pay for another gig, and this is an issue.
No.
Do you have Giganet here? I mean,
no, not yet.
I thought they were
Giganet. Is that a thing?
I get like
gigabyte internet.
CenturyLink.
Do you have giggity?
Giggity.
Gross.
You don't have giggity here?
I got like 50 meg internet right now or something like that.
Let's bring it back.
Yeah,
let's bring it back to the media. Bringing it back.
All right.
Well, I was talking about movies earlier. So it's media.
Well,
so what?
Not those movies, Brett.
Yeah, Brett. Come on. Bring it back to the real here.
The real. Right? Well, it's media.
Is it real?
Media is media. A book is media.
Actually, this entire program, we've only had 3 people
You're not
here.
wrong.
We actually digitally inserted one person in here.
I don't exist.
Guess which one?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I have not been here the entire time.
Yeah, exactly. No, I the problem I see, and I had mentioned it before, is if the people don't trust the media anymore, they're just going to stop watching. Or if you turn it on and it's nothing but the sensationalized news, which people don't like.
Yeah, I mean,
even though the media thinks people like it,
this started
people
even
will
before
watch it, but they're grossed out by it.
Yeah,
it started even before Trump was in office, and that is kind
Absolutely.
of where the election went, and why all these people on the left are very extremely angry.
I feel like this topic has very little to do with Trump, other than the fact that he kind of exacerbates
it has a lot to do with it.
He kind of uses it
because of how things have become so skewed since this.
Yeah,
but at what point does a news organization say we have 25 people watching us, and we used to have 4,000 people watching us, and they go,
those are very low numbers by any means for a news.
Those are podcast numbers.
Sure, but
you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Though.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
and the deal is like
those are podcast
they have a responsibility probably to stockholders, right? To turn a profit. But at what point does somewhere there's a tipping point where making profits for our stockholders is important, but at some point there will be a tip where, you know what, the populace has had enough and they're grossed out, and some organization is gonna come up and their advertising campaign is gonna be, we tell the truth and we report facts and we're accurate and we are moral, and you can learn reality from our broadcast, and people will go to it, right? There's going to be some tipping point where they're going to go to that, and then the extremism and the selling blood and sex is going to fall off, and people are going to want the dang truth. And I hope this is true. It may not be, but at some point I hope it's true.
Here's the good what I see.
Hold on. Can we take a media break and say that you all have not touched your waters at all, and you need sips of waters?
Oh.
Yeah, you were having that conversation. Yeah, you were having that
Never touch the stuff.
It's water. It's good water.
It is
clean. It's
lifeblood.
It's crisp. It's good.
You're
but
right.
you were talking earlier, and I'm like, he needs a drink of water right now. Like, I wish I could.
Very dry mouth.
Those people who are watching at home, take a water break. Take a water break. Take one from the water boy. You know,
it's cool. It's clean.
Gatorade
sucks. It really sucks.
Gatorade.
All right,
Great
that
part.
was our moment of
pop
zen
culture reference there
of water.
What do we
Drink
got,
water.
Mike? Go ahead and read it out, Mike. You're helping.
Drew
me out.
Sullivan says mainstream media loses because people perceive it as dogma, and people reject dogma.
Good movie.
Yeah.
no, not a good movie. It was a weird movie.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You know?
What I want to say is, like, because of this Media Slam episode, what I see good today is I think that people are realizing that the media really is not reporting facts right off the bat.
Right.
Even though some people stop watching, I think what they're realizing is that the media isn't reporting anymore.
Right.
And I think that that's ultimately going to help us out in the end, because the media is going to realize, like you said, well, Bob, our numbers are down 90%.
Yeah.
We should probably do something different. Like, I don't know, actually reporting.
Right. There's a difference between reporting the news and generating news, right? And sometimes, I mean, prior to, I'm going to make up a year here, and it's totally made up. Like
all of those documentaries about Watergate and how news was reported at that time. Why are we not there now? Why are we not all trying to report?
We have so much more news. We have so much more news since Watergate.
I know. I'm just saying that all of those people at that time were trying to cover everything and get it out as fast as possible.
All right. Let me take a stint from a movie called Good Morning Vietnam.
Oh, yeah. Robin Williams.
All right? Where they're crossing it off. They're like, I want to read this, but I can't because this is what they want me to say.
This is what is neat.
That is why we're not getting the truth. That is why we're not getting the straight facts, is because there's somebody behind the scenes that crosses it off and says, this is what you're going to read, not that other stuff.
And there are shareholders in every company, and I'm sorry, but the shareholders should not have all the say in what is actually reported in their company.
Have you seen those videos?
But what benefits them? That's what they're going for.
Have you seen, I think it's like late night talk shows, where they'll put,
there's some good ones.
Hold on,
there's some bad ones.
where they put together a montage of news, saying verbatim the exact same thing.
I have seen that, and it's not talk shows. It's local news. Have you seen that?
I have. Well, I've seen it from a variety of episodes.
So your local hometown news show, right? In Omaha, there's what, four or five local news.
We'll just say four.
Whatever, right? I don't know.
We don't have an exact number. We're going to put that out there.
But how many?
There's the guy Bob down the street doing
3, 6, 7, and Fox.
So
3, 6, 7, Fox.
What Brian is talking about, though, is how many of those local news organizations are owned ultimately by the same owner.
We talked about this before. There's only there's like 4 or 5,
six
giant
and
companies
so
that
this
own
is
everything.
A totally valid case for media bias, by the way, is there are these YouTube montages, which is what Brian's referring to, where you can watch these montages of
a big story that comes out.
These small local news agencies from Omaha, Denver,
Des Moines,
Appleton, Des Moines, whatever, Tallahassee, right, all over the country,
which we'll watch here in a little bit.
But they're all owned by the same company, and then you go watch these news broadcasters.
Turners, I mean, they make great movies, but
the exact same words like across the entire country on a particular
Good morning,
news story.
Vietnam. Here's what you're gonna say.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? Just wild.
And it goes
I mean,
on and on and on.
When did that come out? Good Morning Vietnam. That was like the 70s, 80s? Yeah, mid 80s. I mean, they hit the nail on the coffin with that movie of here's the news. I'm going to give it to you. This is all the news, all of it. And you have a guy
report it from a
going,
ship.
Yeah, this is a guy, and he goes, "This is what you get to say."
Right.
You don't get to say everything on this list. You get to say that. That's it.
Yep.
Right.
And I think, if memory serves me, because I watched Good Morning Vietnam, it was a great movie. I think a lot of
and Robin Williams. What a late that was.
Miss him dearly.
Unfortunately,
Such a loss.
Yes. Yeah.
I agree. Funny man.
Rest in peace.
I in fact just watched Hook last night with
Oh,
Guyver.
man.
We love it, man.
With my son.
We love it at my house too.
Yeah.
Good children's movie.
Yeah.
It is. It really
Scary.
is.
A little scary.
We watched
awesome.
Peter Pan first, and then we had to watch Hook. You know, it was like
Sure.
When he grows up.
That's part 2. You know,
Brilliant. I love
he
it.
had a lot of questions.
Your pizza pan? Panny.
Peter Pan, though, classically is always a woman, which is kind
is,
of
in
interesting when
theater.
you come into Hook.
Right, but I actually
fair enough.
the Peter Pan that I made him watch was the Anne Hathaway version, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
So
Peter Pan was
not-
actually
not
a
Peter
boy.
Pan.
Peter Pan was actually a boy.
What was that?
in
That
that
was called like Neverland, right?
No, it was called Peter Pan.
Oh, was
It's
it?
called something.
What was
current.
the movie Finding Neverland?
Oh.
I
feel
don't
like-
even know that one.
That was with
Not Anne Hathaway. Who was it? We are so off topic. Sorry, everyone.
That's right. Yeah.
Media.
Well, we're still talking about Mina though. We're still talking about Mina. It's no big deal.
It's no, that's fine.
Fake news. It's not real.
He isn't.
Tinkerbell.
The
People
star
can't fly.
It was the North Star, guys. It was the
Wait.
North Star.
So you're telling me if I don't think happy thoughts,
I can't fly.
Not if you don't have fairy
Yeah.
dust, Brian.
Did you find your marbles?
Dang
Did
it.
you find your
you
marbles?
lost them good. Oh man.
Bringing it back. Sorry, that's my fault.
It's all right. I went there. I brought that on for the whole two bits.
Bangarang, Britt.
Bangarang.
You know, odd fact, like the guy that played Rufio in that,
I know where you're going. I've heard this odd fact
Yeah.
before.
like he didn't leave that role.
He just lived it up for the rest
He's
of
in
his
his
career.
He's
in
still
his
doing it.
50s or
All
60s.
he ever did.
Yeah. Just
He's like 60 and he's like, I was Rufio.
I was Rufio, man.
I'll sign
Check it out.
Peter Pan
Cast.
book.
yeah.
I'll sign your cast.
Yeah. I mean, we got a guy locally that does
Wow.
that, but
Rufio.
we do,
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
we all know who that is
Well,
if you're a Husker fan.
well, if you win a Heisman Trophy, then you know what? That's all you do.
I did his outdoor lighting, so don't talk too bad about him.
I've met
He's
him.
a good guy.
He is a good guy.
I'm sure he has excellent outdoor lighting.
He does. He has very. In fact, I need to call him and see if the light bulbs need to be replaced.
He has great eyesight now too, because he does those commercials for.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Anyway.
Husker football,
Yeah.
people, welcome.
Yeah. Oh, so that would be one here locally, media biased on the Huskers.
Well, it's the only team we have. That's our pro team.
No, okay. So
like, I mean, don't go too hard on it.
okay, but here's
Not
where I want to
pro.
go with it.
But where's the bias?
They're not
right?
pro.
I see where
Not
you're
pro,
going.
but
I
it's
see where you're going.
it's
It's
our
the
pro team.
bias, right?
That's what we got.
The bias is thick.
So the bias would be bringing on our Lord and Savior, according to the Huskers, Scott Frost. Okay, the media put him on and people
On a pedestal.
responded, and
I knew it was going to take a year or two, or to
That's
get.
fair. That's
well,
fair.
here's
I
what
think
it
a lot
is.
of people
When
did,
they
though.
brought him in, when Scott Frost got in, he didn't get to choose anybody. Nobody, like, everybody was was sold, and
didn't he
everybody
bring
was
with his guys? With him?
No. He had no choices. He had to.
You're talking about his players or his staff? Because he brought
players,
like his
his
entire
players.
staff.
Yeah,
with him.
his players. When he got in, that was the players he got. it wasn't like he got to recruit. He didn't get to recruit. That's it. There it is. Recruit.
I think where Brian is going though.
Yeah.
I concur, right, with the recruit.
He didn't get to recruit.
We're getting like
so
down
we'll
to the weeds,
get
but
this year when he's up next this year. I think it'll be better.
I think Brian's point though is like, okay, if you work for the Journal Star or the Omaha World Herald and you're writing an article where you're like, I don't really think that Scott Frost is going to do well. Well, you're fired.
You're fired. You better write good about him.
Like there's a media bias there for sure.
And he's a great guy. I love Scott Frost. I think he's going to do a lot of good.
And
for
he's
the program.
an awesome coach, Brian.
He is.
He's a great coach.
You're dang right.
He's a great coach.
I don't want to be fired from this
Say
program.
otherwise. I dare you.
No,
I'm fired.
And this is the end of Drink Talk.
It's down to Britt now. No, so I wasn't going there with that, but I there's nothing I have against Scott Frost other than the fact that the media just put him up on this pedestal and people just followed suit.
Absolutely.
And I think that just goes with the entire Husker program in general. Like, you can't speak ill in Nebraska.
Are you chewing that cube? You were chewing the ice cube? You know that started out this big, right?
I covered my microphone.
It barely fit through the cup.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's no big deal.
You're
We got more ice. We got more fruit punch over here.
Yeah.
I'm good, man.
Yeah. Water's key.
Yeah,
Water's key.
absolutely.
Why don't you pass it over here? We'll fill it up.
Water sucks.
Yeah, just
It
pass
really,
it over
really
to him.
sucks. Yeah. Gatorade is better.
Yeah.
Use it on the field. Oh, dude, to see Fonzie go from that to where he was.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Anyway.
Well, media bias, Brian.
I
That's
know.
the
That's
name of this episode.
Are we kind of wrapping this up?
I feel like we're wrapping it up. I feel like we've
wrapping it
reached a point here where...
Well,
there's going to be the post talk. Don't you worry.
Don't you worry.
There'll be a post talk.
Pass that over there. Hang on a second. We're about... Let's see.
Thank you, Sam.
Let's see what we got here,
I think we
guys.
need to do another shout out.
I'm pretty sure that...
I feel like people's glasses keep getting filled.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us now, we are drinking on Hopslam, and we are rounding out the end of this keg.
Emptying the Hopslam
we
keg.
Bought this at the Casual Pint.
Mm-hmm. And if you're not familiar with metric system, 5 liters is just over a gallon.
If you're not familiar with the metric system, ask Alexa. She'll tell you.
4 guys in a basement can finish it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Clearly.
Yeah.
Oh.
Drum roll.
I was running low, but that's
there it is.
Oh, that's it.
That's it, my friends.
I will be first to say that we could have used one less guy.
We actually have more beer. We have one more beer in. No, we have more beers actually in the fridge. So
sure.
That'll be the post talk.
Yeah,
That'll be post talk.
We can. I'll fill your guys' drinks up here shortly.
Yep. All right. Well, I think we've run the gamut on this one.
That was fun. That was easy.
I enjoyed this a
great.
lot. This was a really good talk. I mean, and valid, right? And I think useful. Man, that
I know.
bias
Hey,
is
hold on.
disgusting and
Truthful.
impactful.
Truthful.
Well, I know we
Right?
stayed.
It was all truthful.
I feel like that's false news, but
Yeah.
it had to be said.
It had to be said.
I will
truthful.
say it was truth-esque.
As for people,
True news. Ooh.
As for people
Hashtag true news.
As
Who's
for
got
people
that?
posing
It might be
as
Googleable.
journalists,
It might be
knows?
Googleable.
Hold on,
feel
Britt.
like-
Hold on.
Hashtag true news.
As for people posing as journalists, I feel like we did a pretty good job.
Pretty good job.
With the whole,
Yeah.
Ethical
I think
stuff.
so. I think so.
Well, we've done our research, and time has passed, and we've learned.
I feel like potentially beer makes you more ethical. I don't.
There's
It's a truth serum.
There might be something to it.
There's an
There's some
argument
truth
for that.
serum to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sam, I appreciate you being on the program today. Thank you for coming out.
I'm so thankful that you guys had me out. I enjoy it every single time, and I'll be here anytime you ask.
Yep. And I'm glad we popped your cherry on this one, Sam.
It's
Yeah.
been a great enjoyment.
Yeah.
Great enjoyment. Much success.
Uphill both ways.
A little painful at first, but we eased our way into it.
We got
It's
it.
Good
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, it's good times. Good times. All right. Well,
Did we solve it, Brian? Did we solve the?
The solving is doing your due diligence.
Well,
what was that word again, Britt?
Due diligence.
Try harder.
Due diligence.
We are trying.
If you want to look at one news station, that's fine. But then you're going to become biased.
But
if
you're
just
wrong. If you review one,
if
one
you
news
review
station.
one,
But
news
if you
station,
look to Pluto for your news, you will have all the answers.
Oh, man.
Well said.
That's
Well
funny.
said.
That's great.
If only you have a large satellite.
You got to bounce it
Check
off
out the Pluto app on your phone.
You got to bounce it off of Mars' atmosphere, and
you guys are gonna love it.
I will say that this episode was on point and valid and useful and fun.
And we went through the whole keg.
And we killed a keg of Hopslam.
A mini keg. Let's be truthful.
It's a little too many.
The perfect intro, the perfect episode, in my opinion. Well done, Brian and Britt.
Well, for our season 3 intro, we had to bring the A game, right?
Right.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could come.
It took us a month to make this happen. The whole month of January.
I don't know where I got recruited.
Mike, your check is in the mail.
We're not paying anybody here.
The check is going.
We're paying people by
going down the gullet right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, I thank you for joining us. I thank all the people that have been posting on the live feed.
We'll answer your questions later when we can.
Yeah. Well, or if we didn't get to them on the actual podcast,
we'll get to them.
Yeah, we'll get to them within the next 24 to 48 hours. And
tell y'all friends.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. This has been episode 79.
Ow!
I know, right?
Ow! 79.
Yes. Season 3 opener.
Season 3, episode 1.
Season 3, episode 1. Yes, but 79 total.
Trace.
Yes.
Beautiful, guys. Well done, Brian and Britt.
Yeah. Again, yeah.
I feel honored to have been invited. So thanks again.
I mean, you always bring a wealth of knowledge. So
yes.
Well,
yeah, you're like our Encyclopedia Britannica or Merriam-Webster Dictionary.
Rather than we'll update that. This is the 1990 version.
Yes, kind of like that.
It's kind of
you update yourself, which is awesome. So, that's all I got. My name's Brian.
I'm Britt.
And I'm Mike.
I'm Sam.
All right, and we're out of here.
Thank you, Sam. I am.
Have a good night.
And cheers.